As a fashion brand, acquiring customers through Facebook and Instagram is inarguably your most powerful tool. And if you're a fashion brand that has experimented with Facebook and Instagram advertising, you might have realized that one, running and managing a comprehensive advertising strategy, it's much easier said than done. And two, the market is very competitive and it's really hard to stand out. In this week's video, we're going to be talking about the 3 key elements you must include in your paid traffic campaigns as a fashion brand to first scale your brand and acquire customers profitably and consistently, and differentiate yourself by getting ahead of the current trends and your competitors. Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jack. I'm the founder here at Scenarius. We are a marketing agency based here in London that helps e-commerce brands set up effective campaigns on Facebook and Instagram. So what are the key elements you must include in your Facebook and Instagram advertising as a fashion brand? The first thing your fashion brand must have before running successful Facebook and Instagram advertising campaigns is a consistent and refreshing aesthetic. If you are a brand with very basic designs, subpar creative direction, that does not have an aesthetic that's in demand and that your consumer actually wants, I have some bad news for you. You are likely to struggle with having success with Facebook and Instagram ads. Within the first few seconds of a consumer seeing your ad, they're going to decide on whether or not they want to continue and learn a little bit more about the brand. So having an aesthetic that your consumer is going to resonate with is key. Obviously, fashion and aesthetic trends change, but what does a refreshing aesthetic look like today? Let's have a look at some examples with different types of fashion brands with different aesthetics to show you a general idea of what a consistent aesthetic might look like for your brand. So the first brand example I want to jump into is this brand right here called Everjay. They are an intimates wear as well as PJ sets brand based out in the US. And what I really like about Everjay is they are a really great example of what a consistent aesthetic looks like. If we take a look at their website very briefly, as well as the rest of their online presence here on Instagram, you can see that their aesthetic is quite consistent. They also have a solid following here on Instagram and a very consistent aesthetic throughout. That's also best seen through their advertising strategy. So if you go to their ad library here, they're obviously making pretty large investments in Facebook and Instagram ads, which indicates to us how well the strategy is working for them. But if we scroll down and take a look at some of their campaigns, they have a very consistent aesthetic throughout. There's very clear creative direction behind the advertising, the models that they use, the sets that they use, and it's rare to find an ad that dips below the standard, and it looks really great. This is something that you don't see too often on your feed, this sort of quality of production, and so people are very likely to resonate with that. And again, seeing the amount of ads that they're running and the investments that they're making tells you a little bit about how well the strategy is working for them. The next example I'll jump into is a streetwear brand called Cole Buxton. They're a brand I personally like. And what they do really well is the UK style aesthetic, but again, really consistent throughout their website and Instagram, and it reflects really well in their advertising as well. And again, you want to think about the consumer and what aesthetics they're into, what trends are going on at the moment, and you want to meet them. For example, Cole Buxton have the kind of luxury athleisure aesthetic that's very in at the moment, and so they're able to communicate that very well through their creatives, through the models, to the design language that they're using, and that's going to make a tremendous difference on the sort of returns they're seeing in their campaigns. The last example I'll give you, just to give you more variation, is this brand right here called Whimsy and Bro. They are a women's wear brand, and the aesthetic that they go for is kind of this country earth tones aesthetic that's also in at the moment, and it's very consistent throughout their website, their Instagram, as well as their advertising strategy. Very consistent. It speaks to one consumer, one type of aesthetic, and again, none of the ads dip below the aesthetic standard that they have, because again, that can cheapen the brand. And so they make sure that all of the ads are up to standard. So before you launch your campaigns, make sure that you're working on the brand design language and aesthetic. Is it in demand, and are you communicating it well and consistently? The second thing you want to incorporate in your Facebook and Instagram advertising as a fashion brand is social proof. Now, that may come as obvious to everyone. Social proof is an important part of a Facebook ad strategy for any sort of e-commerce brand. But for fashion, there are a few things that you want to watch out for and a few things that you want to do slightly differently. The first thing I'll mention here is if the social proof you provide for your brand is not consistent with your aesthetic and look, it is likely to have the opposite of the intended effect. For example, if you are a high-end luxury brand, having cheap-looking or amateur-looking testimonials is likely to cheapen the brand as opposed to get people interested in the brand. So how do you incorporate testimonials and social proof while maintaining the brand's look? One is using many different people in your ads, so making sure that you are incorporating a diverse number of models that obviously represent your brand well, and showing many people in your ads is indirectly communicating to the consumer that a lot of people like your designs. A very quick example of this is this ad right here by Parade, and what they're doing here is showing many different women using their products, and instead of using one testimonial, by showing many different models wearing their designs, they're indirectly communicating, as I said, to the consumer that a lot of people are into the brand. The second way you can do this, and this is quite common, is obviously using any PR campaigns and leveraging any PR campaigns that you've done, especially if they come from a reputable source that your target consumer actually cares about, is going to make a huge difference on the overall success of the ads. A very quick example of this can be shown up here, where they're incorporating PR campaigns in a very subtle way, but again, it tells the consumer that this is a brand that I can trust. The third way you can incorporate social proof in your Facebook ads as a fashion brand is looking at your brand online holistically. So making sure that you have a solid Instagram presence with a lot of people engaging on your Instagram. I talk about working with influencers a lot on this channel. Fashion brands is no exception. Working with influencers is really, really important to, again, gain the trust of the consumer and make them feel like other people are also interested in the product. So before we jump into the third and final element that I want to talk to you guys about today, if you are enjoying the content, be sure to subscribe and help us hit our goal of hitting 500 subscribers by the end of June. So if you are enjoying the content, be sure to subscribe. The third and final element that I want to talk to you guys about today, and is crucial when you are trying to run successful advertising campaigns for your fashion brand, is incorporating different copy that speaks directly to the consumer. Usually this will be in the form of different taglines that speak directly to the consumer, and initially you want to experiment with different variations of what that might look like, and I'll put up a few examples here. This example right here is by, again, a brand that I just showed you, Whimsy and Row, and what they're doing is they're essentially calling out their consumer that is likely to want clothes that look good but are also great for the environment. Depending on what your consumer is, you might want to experiment with different taglines and short phrases that are going to represent your brand well. Another example of this is by some of the ads that we've seen by Eberjay, where they use different taglines that are very quick and easy to the point. This example right here, where they just simply say softest PJs ever, is obviously a quick indication of what the products are and who they're for. The aesthetic speaks to that consumer, and the tagline tells them what the product is and why they should shop. And there you have it, guys. Those are the three key elements you must include in your paid traffic campaigns as a fashion brand if you really want to stand out, stay ahead of content trends, scale your brand, and stay ahead of your competitors. Just to summarize very quickly, the first thing that we talked about is having a consistent and refreshing aesthetic. That's inarguably the most important thing that you have as a fashion brand. Being able to resonate with your consumer through the aesthetic and communicating it well and consistently through your ads. The second thing is social proof. Again, social proof is important as part of any marketing strategy, but incorporating it in subtle ways with fashion brands is key so that you don't cheapen the overall brand. The third thing is speaking to the consumer directly through smart and short and concise taglines that are going to call out the consumer, single them out, and make them feel like the brand is speaking to them specifically, and that will get them interested in the product. Again, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and let us know in the comments what you liked about the video, and what do you use in your own fashion campaigns to get amazing results. So hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.